welcome to Movie Pain or Pleasure podcast. Why are you laughing?
Because I just realized I was holding my face like that.
Okay. Well, if you're listening, you're missing something. You'll have to look at the video. Anyway, it's our Halloween special. We're actually talking about good movies this time. He's just holding his face in one position. So it's been a long day and we're a little sleep deprived and all that, but I'm excited because we actually get to talk about movies that are really good and that we really like, because most of October has been hate watches other than Knock Knock, which was just a big comedy fest. So I am Melanie Gibson, your co-host, and this
Your
sleepy
Goblin
man.
King.
With the pants, with the tight pants.
Oh, shut up. No.
Okay, this is AJ Wall, the Goblin King. And so we are going to talk about some of our favorite scary movies just in time for Halloween. And I was remiss on our last episode to mention where you can find us. So you can watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us on iTunes, Anchor, and Spotify. You can find us on social media and see pictures of our tired faces at Movie Pain or Pleasure Podcast. And you can find me at Melanie Gibson Author on Instagram.
And if you don't subscribe, you're not a real listener or supporter. Subscribe.
If you don't like and share and say amen, AJ will die. Bet this won't get one amen. Okay. Starting to see that stuff on LinkedIn now. Well, yeah. LinkedIn has been infiltrated with the prayer requests. Okay, so let's get started talking about some good movies. So the first one was one that you mentioned in the Apparition episode, but it's so good we wanted to mention it again, and that is Skeleton Key.
Yeah. Like, okay, I had a theoretical question that I won't pose here, but
that's what you're doing right now, though.
Whatever. Anyway, about the Skeleton Key setup. So I asked some people at work, and apparently more people have seen it than I thought. But
Good
still,
choice.
I don't hear a lot of people ever mention it when they talk about scary movies. So I saw this when it first came out. I was like 13. Saw it in the theater. And I just think it really has a good idea and it goes with it like all the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you get some of this cool New Orleans culture. So, and speaking of cool culture and learning about different people, that brings us to number 2, and that's Shudder, the original Thai version, which I think we'd mentioned in one of our podcasts. It might have been the one with The Ring 2, but Shudder was good, and that was just one we kind of found by accident because I had never seen the American version of Shudder, and we were looking for it, and the Thai one was the one that happened to be on streaming on Amazon or wherever we watched it.
And the American one I watched when it first came out forever ago, so I remembered that I liked it. It was the only Asian girl horror movie thing that I liked. Like, I didn't like The Ring that much. Like, it was fine. I didn't like The Grudge. They all bored me. They all seemed like the exact same thing. But I remember liking Shudder. It was the American version. And then when we tried to find it, all we found was this Thai version. We're like, screw it. Okay, well, let's figure out what Thai people are like. And it was really good.
It was really good. It was kind of low budget, but who cares?
I think Net is way scarier than Samara.
Yeah, and Net is a revenge ghost who makes sense because she only goes after certain people.
People
She's
that
got an
really
agenda.
deserve it.
Yeah, they deserve it. She doesn't go after anybody else. She has an agenda for certain people that she has it out for, and she sticks to it. I like a ghost who's organized. Okay, anything else about Shudder? Watch the Thai version. I avoided Shudder for years because I was terrified of The Ring, and I heard Shudder. It kind of, it's kind of along those lines, but I haven't seen the American one yet, but I probably won't like it as much as the Thai one. And you get to hear that wonderful Thai language and just see some of their culture and see what their city looks like. And
the American one is good, but I'm based on my memory, I'm betting the Thai one is way better. So.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. Okay, number 3 is His House. That we watched that on Netflix, and I liked seeing more diversity of people in horror movies because you usually see dumb, good-looking, young, privileged white people in a cabin in the woods, and that's been done to death. His House is about a couple from Sudan who are refugees living in England. So you kind of get two horror stories in one. It's a ghost story, and there are some really good jump scares and the things that haunt them and their baggage that they bring from fleeing the war-torn country. But then also just the horror of being an immigrant in a country that doesn't want you there, and where the people treat you like shit and make it really difficult to be there.
The system is already kind of like against you, and the things that the cops would say, like, be one of the good ones.
Yeah,
shit
it's,
like that,
you know, you see the racism, you see the classism. So, and America's probably the same for the people who come here. So, that was very interesting. It was nice to see people of color in a horror movie and different cultures. And it was really scary, too. That's also a property damage horror type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
That'll bother you. Okay. Now, another one, number 4, The Orphanage. AJ, why don't you tell the story of how you came across this movie?
I got this from a friend named Arvelis at work. If he's listening, he'll remember it. I tried to give it back to him, and he said he didn't want that curse in his house. And I'm actually kind of surprised, because it didn't seem like the type of movie he would be into, but he went all the way through with it.
Well, didn't you say it was in it? He had bought a DVD player, and it was in the DVD player? It's like a Ring type of situation.
It, like, came with circumstances. And this is another one that's another culture. It's, like...
It's from Spain.
Yeah, it's
in
Spanish.
Spain.
And it's just... Okay, it's the kind of movie where it's pretty good most of the way through, you know, it's good, but it doesn't blow your mind. And then you see the ending.
The ending, oh my god, the twist, the reveal. I think even if I watch it for a second time and I know what's coming, I'm still going to be like, oh my god!
And it changes the whole movie.
Whole movie. I mean, it just takes it to another level. Because at first I thought, oh, it's like your typical creepy haunting story. And then a whole other level. So, The Orphanage, my Spanish escapes me right now. I don't remember how to say it in Spanish, but find it. It is a beautiful film. And speaking of beautiful films... 1, 2, 3, knock on the door. Oh, God. Uno, dos, tres, toca la pared, or something like that. Oh, you're creeping me out now. I got chills on the back of my neck. It's dark, too. Now I'm creeped out. Anyway, see, these are the really good scary ones. Number 5 is Gretel and Hansel.
This one was awesome.
That was a visually beautiful film, and we watched it over the summer, and we like to do our thing called the Summer Chill series, where we watch really chill movies like Sideways and Lost in Translation, and we like just like chill, calm, low-key movies. And I remember this had that same feeling because we were out in the pool kind of splashing around talking about it, and it's a quiet film. It is scary. It's scary. It's definitely scary.
Atmosphere type movie.
Atmosphere. It's a certain fantasy look. There's a simplicity to it. The witch is great. The acting is really great.
Oh, yeah.
She's good. And then the girl who played Beverly in the new It movies is Gretel. And she was pretty good.
Yeah. It was I like that it was like it's a twist on an old fairy tale, so it's I mean, we all know the story of Hansel and Gretel, but this gives it a fresh twist. Gretel and Hansel.
I could
it feels like it's being set up for a sequel, or at least an offshoot sort of movie, which I would love to see. Because at the end, there's sort of an insinuation that the brother might be a huntsman or something.
A huntsman, and then...
Or a woodsman.
And then also, Gretel might continue some of the traditions of the witch.
So, it was good.
It was very good. That's one I could definitely watch again. Number 6 is a more of a blockbuster one, The Nun.
Yeah.
And that was good. It had jump scares. The Nun was definitely scary. I grew up Catholic, but I didn't go to Catholic school like my mom did. So she and her siblings probably have horror stories about real nuns.
That priest was awesome, too.
Yeah, that priest. And he had this hot Latino priest. He was kind of sexy, and he had this great accent, and he was kind of debonair. I'm like,
it's like, you're not a priest.
Father, let me confess my sins.
Yeah.
I've been a bad girl. Yeah. But yes, and also the little girl who plays the nun is Vera Farmig's daughter, I think, this is in the Conjuring universe. I think. I get Insidious and The Conjuring mixed up, but I think this is in the Conjuring universe because she had a vision of the nun, the demon.
Yeah.
And her daughter plays a nun. This is, I mean, yeah, she's a nun. She's kind of it's a prequel. And she does the most badass thing at the end.
Oh, yeah.
We're not going to spoil it, but you think the demon's got her. And then she does the most badass boss bitch thing ever. Like Catholic on a whole other level. So, won't spoil it. Watch The Nun. It's still on streaming on HBO or some of those things. It's fun. It's like a good popcorn horror scary movie.
I actually like it better than some of the Conjurings.
Definitely better than the newest Conjuring movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one was kind of boring.
Was disappointing.
So, okay. Speaking of scary women, that brings us to number 7, Greta. AJ's eyes
Greta.
lit up with terror. Talk about Greta while I sip some of my tea.
I've never... Okay, there's a scene where someone is suddenly present and it's scarier than any, like, monster suddenly in the corner or Jason or Michael Myers.
Like a jump scare.
Behind you or something. It's way scarier than any of that. So it's Chloe Moretz.
Grace Moretz. Yeah.
She's in... Where the hell is she? She's in
New
York?
Is she in Paris or is she in
No,
New York?
the woman's French, but
she's
in
New York.
She's in New York. She's got this Texas girlfriend, and they're living there, and she kind of accidentally becomes this surrogate daughter figure to this woman, this French woman, who she reminds her of her daughter, and it's this friendship that sort of gets squirrely, and it's good. Mm-hmm. It's got a lot of suspense.
A lot of suspense and a lot of the jump scare he's talking about is terrifying. It's very simple, but it's terrifying. So number 8 is The Ritual.
Ooh.
And that is a good one, and it's about a group of friends from England who go hiking in a forest in Sweden, and they get horribly lost, and they begin to suspect that demonic ancient forces are at play. And I loved the movie, and this is based on a novel by Adam Neville, and I saw the movie first, and then I read the book, and I loved it, and I've read just about every novel that Adam Neville has written, and he's got a new one on Netflix called No One Gets Out Alive, which we haven't watched yet. But definitely watch The Ritual and then go read all of Adam's other books. The Reddening is a really good kind of creepy folk story. And so, yeah, that was good.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. It reminds me of something else. It's got... Damn. I wish I could remember. There's this moment at an altar that happens in it.
Is it with her in the cabin?
I want to say it reminds me of something with Hereditary, but I don't know why. I don't know. Anyway, it has good build up, and it's like it's out in the open, and also you feel trapped at the same time because they're in the woods.
Yeah, and you just reminded me of things to add to the list, which we'll get to at the end. Okay, so The Ritual is good, and then go read all of Adam Neville's books. He's this really awesome up-and-coming... He's not really up-and-coming, he's established, but he continues to produce more work, horror writer. So, number 9 is The Witch.
The Season of the Witch.
Yeah. Does she weigh the same as a duck? I don't know. God. But it's another one where it's very simple. It's about a family, I think in the 1600s, who are Puritans and who live in... what will become the United States. Right now, it's land that belongs to the Native Americans that was stolen by white people. So really, the scariest thing about this movie is the religious fanaticism of her parents.
Yeah.
Good old Puritans.
Yeah, it kind of seeps down from her dad, and it's just...
Yeah. And so...
This could be an interesting, like, companion piece to Gretel and Hansel. Because they both have this sort of, like, witch culture thing where the young girl is actually sort of interested in it in a way, and you don't get too much, and it's a lot of suspense and a lot of atmosphere. You will have to watch it with subtitles.
Yes,
because that dad is so hard to understand.
They don't sound like modern day Americans.
No.
So, and that's another one where you think it's kind of going in one direction, and then at the end you're like, oh, wow, okay. Hot Jack Sparrow. That's all I'm going to say. Oh no, this brings us to number 10, Maniac. Oh god, that's one of the most disturbing movies I've ever seen.
I gotta remember, I promised somebody at work, I was telling them about it, and I promised I'd let them borrow.
That's one you can't get rid of. That's like another Ring
if
video.
If we lose it, I don't care.
We tried to take it to Game Exchange, and they wouldn't take it.
Thanks to Christian for showing me this movie.
Christian, his friend, not Christian, the religion.
No. Yeah, I've seen it, I think, 3 times, and you really don't need to do that. You need to see it once. That's it. It's a POV slasher film.
With Elijah Wood.
With Elijah Wood, who, if you haven't really paid attention to more indie stuff and his career past the Wilfred show and the Lord of the Rings, he's really into horror. Apparently, we just watched one that he did called what the hell was it? It was
I can't remember it now.
Anyway, just look up his IMDb. You'll find it.
We'll put it in the show notes. Yeah, it's one where oh gosh, I can't remember it now, but we'll put it in the show notes and we'll try to mention it on our next episode.
Now we just sound stupid. But he's actually really good in these movies, and it's the kills are very noteworthy. Like they're not like cookie cutter, like or copycat or even over the top.
I'm gonna try to look this up while you're talking.
It's not like a Saw film where like, how is he gonna do it? It's simple, but it's very direct and it's good. And it's another slasher movie that sort of has the Ed Gein background. Oh, Come to Daddy. It's very much not what it seems like in the beginning, that one. But it's good too.
Okay, back to Maniac.
Not good enough to be on the list, really. But it's good. So yeah, it's got that Ed Gein backstory that most slashers are based on, like, oh, he's got mommy issues, stuff like that. But yeah, it's really, and you can't get rid of it. We've tried getting rid of it 2 or 3 times, and every time we have too many copies of that, we don't want it.
Yeah, Half Price Books, Game Exchange, they won't take it.
It's another one of those cursed movies like The Orphanage. So yeah.
Okay, so another kind of weird indie movie, Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon, and this is one that AJ had seen before and made me watch it, and it was very different. It was very creative and full of surprises. So
I saw this when I was a teenager, and I have never met anybody that's seen it since. I have a friend from work who, I used to work with him, and he has my copy. But it's okay. I don't think he's even watched it. Like, nobody's seen this movie. It's really funny. Like, it's not... It's not a laugh every minute, but the concept is really funny.
Isn't it kind of a mockumentary?
Yeah, it's a mockumentary. This woman wants to do like a news documentary type thing, based on a serial killer. And in this world, serial killers are like, they're real people. Like Chucky is mentioned, I think. Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, like all these prolific slashers, they're real, and they're considered like, not icons, but like pop culture icons almost. And they find one that wants to establish himself. I don't know how, but they do, and they follow him around while he sets up who he's gonna kill. When he's gonna kill them, how he's gonna kill them, how he's gonna have, like, he has like an arch nemesis, and he has a friend who's like a protege or a, what do you call it, like a mentor figure slasher person. It's a really funny concept. Yeah,
it's really funny. So that's a good one. And then we're coming to a classic.
Oh, say the name again, because people will forget it.
We got the whole name wrong.
We got it wrong every single time.
Yeah, okay. It's called Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
The Rise, not the Curse, which I kept thinking.
The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 12 is a classic, Candyman.
Yeah.
We have not seen the new one by Jordan Peele yet. I'm going to save that for Halloween to watch then. But I had never seen Candyman before because I used to avoid horror movies because they scared me. But I love this movie. It's sad and it's simple and there's some quiet to it.
And Tony Todd is awesome.
Tony Todd is incredible. And Virginia Madsen is so beautiful. She has the most perfect oval, open face that's perfect for close-ups and everything. So it's so simple. I think we all kind of know the story of it, but it's haunting. It's a really haunting movie. It's a haunting story.
I wish I had seen it earlier on. I don't know if they picked a great name. Like, it's catchy, but
What,
like
Candyman?
when I was a kid, I'd heard of the movie, and I wasn't interested in it because it just sounded like
The Candyman from Willy
Yeah,
Wonka.
I was thinking like, I was also sort of still a kid, so my stupid kid brain was probably like, I don't know, maybe like it's a horror movie, but it's just about this guy that chases kids. Because I was like, Candyman, he's creepy. It must be about kids. I don't care about that. So. Definitely not what I thought it was, but that one, it's very grungy in a way that a lot of other ones aren't.
Yeah, and there's the racism part of it, and then the classism is an interesting part to it too, which makes me very interested to see what Jordan Peele has done with it, and the fabulous Tony Todd will come back
and
for that role.
And it sort of touches on your revenge ghost thing, because I won't say it in case somebody hasn't seen it. Watch it, but someone by the end of it theoretically could be considered a new revenge ghost.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, okay, my thing with revenge ghosts is always like, well, if you kill me, I'm just gonna come back and kick your ass. So I feel like revenge ghosts will beget more revenge ghosts. And then also, he takes care of a baby for like a month. The baby's fine, but okay, I sit there and I will not question, I don't question the existence of the supernatural in this movie. What I question is this supernatural being with a hook for a hand took care of, bathed, clean, fed, comforted a baby that he kidnapped for a month.
that baby's gonna grow up and be like, I remember
Well,
very fond memories of my stepdad.
That's what the remake, the main character is the baby grown up.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So bonus, yeah. So we're gonna have to watch that on Halloween.
That new one should have gone on this list, but we haven't seen it.
We haven't seen it yet because I wanted to save it for Halloween. I also didn't want to pay like $25 for us to see it in the theater. Yeah, so we're halfway through. So number 13 is The Descent, and that was one that AJ had seen that I hadn't seen before.
You
so
can say that about a lot of these, though.
Yeah, because I was too chicken to watch horror movies, and now I'm really getting into them. I'm getting into them.
My dad put me onto this when I was really young. Horror movies, sci-fi stuff. The Descent is...
Oh, it's scary.
Like... It's not just scary, it makes you squeamish.
You can feel the claustrophobia and the darkness and the terror.
Like, you want to twitch when you're watching it.
That's one to watch in the daytime with all the lights on.
Yeah, like, there's some stuff about, like, the characters, but that doesn't really matter. Like, they're fine. You don't hate them or anything. But mostly, it's the claustrophobia and what's in the dark. And it's awesome.
Yeah, and you kind of think, what would I do if I were in that situation? And oh, thank God I'm not in that situation. Number 14 is Malignant, which we talked about briefly on our Apparition episode. But Malignant is a new Netflix release, and it is fun.
It's awesome. Like,
It takes itself seriously and doesn't at the same time in just the most perfect way.
Yeah,
it's like a B movie with a budget.
It had a really good, like, it makes it good. It doesn't sound good if you thought about just the idea.
It's stupid if you just kind of talk about it.
They had a really interesting and clever idea, and they make it good, and they do everything they can with it, and it sends you thinking you're going in one direction, and then by the end of it you can like watch it again and have a whole nother direction. So
yeah, I think I could watch it again knowing the twist and
like,
still have fun with
especially how horror movies are nowadays. I appreciate that it's actually new and different.
Yeah, it's something different, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Okay, number 15 is a two-parter. Part 1 is Gerald's Game, which is based on the Stephen King novel, and it's a very simple movie. It's a woman in a sticky situation, and it's just her, and you wonder the whole time how she's going to get out of it. So, and then
which we've only watched once.
Because
there's one scene, and after that point you can't.
I can't watch it again.
Like, it's
so gross.
It's probably most people are probably fine with it. It's just
I can't. No. And so then that brings us to Till Death, which is something we just watched it on Netflix with Megan Fox. And at first we were like, this is basically a remake of Gerald's Game, and then things got really...
It has a more fun
and scary. Like there's a lot more peril in this one.
Yeah, it's less grounded, strangely enough. Like Gerald's Game, you're in one place pretty much the whole movie, so it has a lot of backstory and it has a lot of character and all that. And then Until Death, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, because in Gerald's Game, you're just kind of with this woman thinking minute by minute, what is she gonna do?
Yeah, like how would you actually survive?
And Until Death, it's like, oh crap, you gotta go over here. Oh no, you gotta do this. Oh no, now this is happening. So it's like an endless chase scene, and it's fun and it's scary. And it
that one
definitely, really... I didn't really know what to expect, and at first I was a little disappointed, but then
it really surprised
us. So it's maybe inspired by Gerald's Game, but it definitely holds its own as a good thriller horror movie. Number 16 is The Vigil.
Yeah.
And this is when we were on our kick of like, we want diversity in horror movies. We want to learn about different cultures. And The Vigil is based on, I believe, forgive me if I get this wrong, Orthodox Judaism. And someone needed to go sit with the body. I think that's holding Shiva, but forgive me, I'm not Jewish, so I'm probably going to get this wrong. But you're sitting with the body after death. And sometimes... they, in this case, they paid a guy who was kind of hard up for money to go and sit with a dead body. And then there's a lot more than it seems in the house. There's a malevolent force, and there's lots of good jump scares, and it gets pretty scary.
Yeah, that's not a creative one.
It was really creative.
That's what I appreciate. Yeah. That's what I appreciate about these
movies. Is that what you appreciate?
If they have a clever idea, and if it's different, and they go all the way with it. Like I don't like if they have a good idea but they waste it. And I don't like if it's exactly the same as every other movie. So
yeah, and this will come up in some of our later ones, but having been raised Catholic, the mysticism of Catholicism doesn't really stick with me as much, because I'm so sick of seeing, there's a demon, there's a priest gonna come do all this holy stuff with incense and rosaries and whatnot. I'm like, it's not that mystical, okay? It's not that mystical. It looks pretty, but it's not that mystical. So I'm so sick of seeing Catholicism in horror movies. I like seeing something different, and that's what I liked about The Vigil, and that's what I like about number 17, which is The Possession.
Yeah, it kind of... Okay, so it has that dude who looks like Javier Bardem.
The guy who... the guy with the bat with the barbed wire around it. He was in The Walking Dead, which I didn't watch, but he was...
Watchmen. He was also in Watchmen.
Yeah, he was the guy that bashed people's heads in with the barbed wire bat.
Yeah. He's really good, and it's mostly about him. But it's sort of like if you took The Exorcist and you threw a little bit of Jewish flair, like meh.
Yeah.
And there's the whole family situation about him and his daughters and his ex-wife or soon-to-be ex-wife, and I I really liked that one. It stuck with me when I first saw it, and it's a good possession movie.
It's a good possession movie, and then instead of going to a priest, they go to a rabbi. Which is awesome.
I may be wrong, but I think it might be the same rabbi who was, like, sort of... It was before you could really go viral, but it was, like, back when MTV viral. The Jewish... Hasidic Jew that would rap.
Yeah.
And he got really...
It was him.
He blew up a little bit. I think it's him who helps them out. And that's pretty interesting. Like, the way he handles, I guess, an exorcism is different than
what a Catholic priest would do.
Well, throw the water and say the words.
Okay, so along with, we're kind of going on this theme here of religion and stuff, number 18 is The Last Exorcism, which I really liked that one, and that was kind of, it's not a mockumentary, but it's kind of set up in that style where it's a preacher who, I don't know if he's Pentecostal or something, he's Protestant.
It's something very Southern.
And it's kind of a grift.
Yeah, he just flat out says, like, he does, it's kind of like the family in Ouija.
Yeah, it's a grift. Like, he'll go do fake exorcisms for people who believe in it. But he thinks
that, well, if they're going to believe in it
he'll go pray with them. And
I might as well do it. And then it'll psychologically relieve them. He doesn't, like, okay, I won't say too much, but he has this really funny line about, like, I could say anything during this sermon, and they would go crazy for it. Tell you what, I'll throw in something about banana bread. The hell?
I don't know what that is. Sorry. That was my cousin FaceTiming me, Stephanie. I'm so sorry. So it came up on my phone and then it came up on my computer. So sorry. Oh, okay. I'm going to turn can you put the video back on?
Yeah.
I'm going to just text her and say, why don't you talk about The Last Exorcism while I do this?
This is another one I saw when I was a teenager. It is, okay, so like I said, he's throwing out the, he's trying to show off for these people taking the documentary, and he's like, I can literally say anything during a sermon, and he shouts out, like, something that sounds very Southern Baptist in his tone. He's like, now if you get ripe bananas, you throw that in a pan, you throw it in the oven for you turn that bit whatever up, and praise Jesus or whatever, and they all say, yeah, amen. Like, that's how it starts, so it seems like it's gonna be silly, but then it slowly gets into the is it or isn't it an actual exorcism or demonic possession or whatnot. Sort of like the Emily Rose one.
And that brings us, I'm just going to turn...
Although, I know a lot of people don't like the ending. I don't really like the ending.
Of Emily Rose or The Last Possession? The Last Exorcism.
The Last Exorcism. I still think it's worth watching.
Yeah,
even if you don't like the ending.
It's kind of stupid.
Just pretend the ending didn't happen.
Okay, so, and that brings us to The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which involves a Catholic priest, and they're a very Catholic family, but I like it because you really don't know the whole time, is it a mental illness like schizophrenia, or is it real demonic possession? And they leave it's just kind of ambiguous the whole time, and that's infuriating, but it's also... that's kind of the magic of that movie is it's really well done. It even though it sounds like a typical Catholic possession type of thing, it doesn't really follow the tropes. You actually don't see too much of like an exorcism scene. You see more of Emily's suffering on her own and the priest kind of defending his actions. So, and
I had a thought, and it's gone.
Okay, well maybe it'll come back. Sorry, we had a little distraction. My cousin's kids wanted to know what black belt rank I was. I'm a 2nd degree black belt in Taekwondo, so I will call them back in just a little while.
That's worth 2 emergency.
They were trying to FaceTime me. It was very cute, but I'm sorry, I'm trying to make a movie right now. So.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Yeah.
Almost had the thought again. Okay, the third. Is it the third Conjuring that just came out?
Yes.
We Saw the something, whatever. Okay, that movie should have taken a lot of notes from this because it surrounds a jury, a court case, and it doesn't give you what you want. I really wanted that court case. It's not in that at all.
No.
And this is all about the court case, and it sort of goes back and forth, and it adds the other stuff. I wish The Conjuring would have done that, but...
Yeah, they just skip over it. So Emily Rose, you get a lot of the court case, and it feels more like a real exorcism/possession story. All right, number 20 is The Babadook.
We're already at 20?
We're already at 20. Told you this was going to be a quick one. So, The Babadook takes place in Australia, and the theme is grief. There was a woman whose husband died in an accident, and she has a little kid who's not taking it well. He is the biggest fucking brat I've ever seen in my life. He's a big old see you next Tuesday. I hate this kid. I hate this kid so much. I'm like, I'm sorry your dad's dead, but God, you're an asshole.
Yeah, I didn't...
He screams.
I was waiting for her to just smack him. I don't believe you should hit your kids, but that kid.
That kid.
She needed to do something. And I'm surprised. I don't know why. I assume an Australian mom is sort of like
a
Southern American mom.
Maybe because Australia's just a big Texas. I don't know. Sort
of tough and like, quit doing that shit. Just, yeah. But I hated this kid.
I hated this kid. But the creepiness of the creature of the Babadook was very creative, the way they did it. It shows up in a children's book, and the book won't go away. And so you always kind of wonder, is the Babadook real? Is this all in their head? What is this? So getting towards the end of our list, and then we got some not really honorable mentions, they're just ones I'm thinking of as we go by. Victor Frankenstein. Not really a horror movie, but it's homage to the original story.
It's based on a horror story. Although, I mean, if you think about Frankenstein, the actual story, it's not really like a horror story the way
sci-fi really
horror is now. Like, it's like, I guess Victor is scared, but even from the original story point of view, you're not like worrying about the monster catching you or anything. It's just, it's something that's happened to this guy.
Honestly, I worry more about the monster and his making his way through the world.
So Victor Frankenstein is more like if you took the original movie, not the book, and with Igor and everything, and you decided, I want to make like a prequel sort of I almost said Sherlock. They're basically Sherlock and Watson. Like, Victor Frankenstein and Igor in this movie, it very much felt like the Sherlock Holmes movies, because Victor is like coked out the whole time, and it's James McAvoy, so he's awesome.
Yeah.
And Igor is like more calm and quiet, and he has the love interest who gets insulted by...
You said it was Daniel Radcliffe, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I didn't, but I was about to.
Oh, sorry.
But you took care of that.
Sorry.
So, I really enjoyed it. A lot of these are on the list because I don't think enough people have seen it. Mm-hmm. And this is one of them. It just... and we discovered... Whoever this was that directed it, I don't remember any of that stuff off the top of my head, although I looked at it when it came up. He needs to just make movies of all the old English literature, like...
The Picture of Dorian Gray.
Yes.
Or something. Yes.
The Time Machine, all those fun old...
Do a remake of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
All those old fun pop novels from like that time period. Mm-hmm. So yeah, watch that shit. It's like the monster is in it, but it's more towards the end, and it's really about who Victor Frankenstein is and who Igor is, and yeah. And that brings me to one in honor of my dad, who made me watch this, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. It's not necessarily a good movie, but it's kind of a guilty pleasure, which goes with the theme of our podcast. It's fun.
Gretel and Hansel, it is not.
No.
But it's really, like, it takes itself super seriously, but it's also in on the joke.
I mean, you do kind of have
It
to
knows
give
how ridiculous it is.
You do have to give the guy credit that wrote the book.
Yeah.
That he bothered to put as much history in it as he did and mix it.
I would much rather read that one than the one about Jane Austen and zombies, because I'm sorry, I don't like Jane Austen. I was an English major. I freaking hate Pride and Prejudice. And I hate stuff with zombies because they're gross. So I'd rather take Abraham Lincoln and vampires. So, I know. Now I'm not popular anymore because I don't like Jane Austen. So, I do like
yeah, you know how the kids nowadays, they all read Jane Austen.
I'm trying to, keep up my basic bitch card, and I guess I don't like Jane Austen, so I might lose it. So, anyway, brings us to 23 and 24 kind of go together. The first one is Hereditary, which is one AJ brought up, and I just remembered because that was a really very good, very disturbing movie. I
think if any movie gets close, this is as close as you can get to being as scary as The Exorcist in a similar way as I've ever seen. I think like Exorcist, I think still sits at the top.
Yeah,
and Hereditary is very close. Like it
just rubs you the wrong way.
There might be a couple closer, like as in just scary movie, but the possession-y type stuff and the only thing holding it back, I think, is The Exorcist has literally Satan, Lucifer, the devil. Like it's very immediately kind of scary if you're involved with the devil.
Yeah.
Whatever this weird ass
Payman?
Yeah, Payman.
Some kind of demigod type
It's not as scary sounding honestly it wasn't in the movie quite enough. Should have been put up
it's all crammed in at the end. That's the only thing I really didn't like about the movie was all the weird, like the supernatural or the thing behind it, kind of the reveal of here's why things are weird.
Everything
is it just crammed in at the end.
Is super awesome. The effects are really good. They make you feel disoriented. But yeah, not having the devil. Okay, even the ritual. Some of the monster type stuff that goes in that story, they say is about Loki. So, or the offspring of Loki. Whatever.
Something like that.
It's very it's easy to connect to because everyone knows about Loki or it has an idea, not like Marvel Loki, but just like the actual story of Loki. So if they had picked like a better demon or something, or
for Hereditary,
like
but I mean it's kind of nice. It's nice. Chernobog.
Yeah, Chernobog.
But it is kind of nice. Like we like our diverse cultures in our horror movies. It is kind of nice that it's not, our old friend Satan.
Yeah, but it's kind of like how whenever you find out that the name of the actual demon in The Exorcist is Pazuzu.
Pazuzu.
Like, not...
Super scary Pazuzu.
Like, you'd be pissing yourself, and then he's like, I am Pazuzu.
I'm like, what? I'm like, Pazuzu.
You loser.
Anyway, almost at the end, number 24 is Midsummer. Also, same director as Hereditary, right? And I think it takes place in Sweden.
Yeah,
most of it's Americans who go to Sweden, and I know the big thing was it all takes place in the daytime, and it's scary, which most of it does, but it's super fucked up, and it is scary, and I've been begging us to watch it. We gotta watch it again. I loved it. It was because you're just like, oh my god, what? And the visuals are really amazing. It's really beautiful in a weird sick kind of way. And you just kind of have to go with it and like accept that this is how this little village is, and okay, wow. And so you're kind of you're feeling it with the characters of like what is going on, and it is pretty scary, and the ending is really terrifying and awful. And it's the source of endless memes too. So, yeah. Anything else on Midsummer?
No.
Okay. To make it a nice even 25, I added The Lodge.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Get us all ready for Christmas, because it takes place in a cold, wintry area somewhere. Was that the one that was in Quebec? or
Quebec.
fucking Quebec.
Yeah,
we watch Letterkenny, so
fucking Quebec.
fucking Quebec. I think it's in Quebec, or it's somewhere in the very northern United States.
Spot.
Very, very cold. It begins with a tragedy, and so it's
very mindfuckery. Like
a lot of mindfuckery. It's another one of these kind of, is it somebody's mental illness or is it a supernatural force? And at the end, they give you the answer, and it's awful. Like it's one of those horror movies where things don't end well for anybody, and you're just left with this sense of dread. And speaking of kids from It, Stuttering Bill is the boy in the movie. So yeah, that's 25, well 26, because we grouped Gerald's Game Until Death together. It's 26 really good, scary, fun, disturbing horror movies. Anything would be good to watch on Halloween or Scary Movie Sunday or a cold, icky afternoon. So, or a scary night.
We didn't plan this, but I have 2 dishonorable mentions.
Ah.
Movies that pissed me off, I guess. Which I don't think we'll make episodes about or anything, because one of them I don't want to sit through again. And that's Suspiria.
Oh God, I hated them.
Yeah, that. So
and that's a remake.
Yeah, the remake. Maybe the original is good, and it's part of a series of movies. It was so
insufferable,
drawn out, and
look at how artsy we are.
And it was confusing. Like, it was just, I was confused. It had some good visuals to it, but meh. Second one, The Black Coat's Daughter.
Oh, yeah, that was okay. It was kind of
like,
boring.
it had sort of an interesting idea, but, okay, I don't care because this movie's not good. Spoiler alert. If you're gonna have the reveal be that this one character is a character that you saw earlier in the movie, and it's only been like 4 years, you can't use 2 different actresses.
Yeah, that was...
It
didn't work. Like, if it was a child and an adult, do that, or...
Tiny quick recap.
Yeah.
There's something that happens at, like, a Catholic school for
like
girls.
School or something.
Something like that. And it's a possession sort of thing. It sort of had a couple of, like, decent, like, scares. But this girl murders everybody and leaves. And then there's this family that we're sort of following, trying to help this girl who was found just kind of on the side of the road. And it's, like, revealed last second that this is their daughter's friend who murdered her. But she doesn't look like the other actress. Like, the only reason it's a reveal is because they used 2 different actresses. And they went from, like, 16 or 17 to 20. And she looks like a totally different person.
Totally different person.
It's really stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to say those movies suck.
Yeah, not worth your time.
Especially Suspiria. It's so long. Don't watch it.
Yeah.
Watch all these other ones.
Watch all these other ones. So yeah, so that's our good list for Halloween. So again, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Anchor, and on Instagram, Movie Pain or Pleasure Podcast.
Subscribe, and, be our cult.
Yes, be our cult. Be my victim. Okay, and to my cousin who was calling me during the video, happy Halloween-ero. Bye.